more about a coronavirus.
How is life treating you all? Um, how's everything going? How's everything going? Um, so yeah, I decided to come together on one accord with you and I to put a life time story together in real life, in real time. And I think that together now will be the perfect time to show you what has been going on. Many of us live in these latter days asking ourselves, what in the world just happened? What in the world is going on? How can this happen? Like, how? How can this happen to us? To this wonderful, great country called America? How can this
tyranny,
happen to us?
tyranny, 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 tyranny.
Okay.
People, and nobody will listen to me. And they all know what's happening. They all agree with me, and they all just shake their heads. And I'm like, am I the only one who is not a sociopath? To think that this is okay? Nobody's listened to anybody's lungs as long as I've been here. Even with disposable stethoscopes. I keep telling them that, the guys are like, my patient's going acidotic. We need to do something about this before his kidneys shut down, give him some bicarb or something like that. And this is what they do. They let the patient's blood get acidotic. So anyways, kidneys shut down, and at the last minute, they finally decide to run bicarb. So they run 5 liters of bicarb into a person who's gained 20 pounds of water weight and completely throw him into heart failure, and he dies several hours later. COVID didn't kill that guy. He was a COVID patient. Every single patient I've taken care of, guys, is a COVID patient. What I need is someone to help me save these people from being killed.
Studies on the drug should be done.
Look, I'm not a doctor. Study has to be done, and maybe if it helps, it's great. If it doesn't help, don't do it.
Many doctors report facing pressure from patients demanding the drug.
The number of new positive cases continue to decline nationwide. Recent hotspots appear to be stabilizing. The hotspots are in some cases very interesting what's going on, and they're going down. They're going in the right direction. Cases in the Boston area are now declining. The Chicago curve appears to have flattened, which is terrific, and Detroit has passed its peak. These trends demonstrate that our aggressive strategy to battle the virus is working and that more states will soon be in a position to gradually and safely reopen. That's very exciting. It was very exciting even today watching and seeing what's happening, and people are getting ready and they're all excited. I do want to mention a man who's done a very good job for us. Dr. Robert Redfield was totally misquoted in the media on a statement about the fall season and the virus. Totally misquoted. I spoke to him. He said it was ridiculous. He was talking about the flu and corona coming together at the same time. And corona could be
Anybody saying that they're hearing me? They're hearing me Instagram? Well, Instagram will, but they getting live stream? Got it? Good. Okay, perfect. So everybody can hear me. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys got to let everybody know this message that I'm about to give you, because this is something that I just found out. It's beyond belief. This is regarding a House resolution that was initiated on May 1st of this year, like 4, 5, 6 days. I don't even know what day it is right now, but it was May 1st, introduced into the U.S. Congress. It's a House Resolution 6666. That is not an exaggeration. I have no idea how this works, but this is what the actual House Resolution number is, 6666. And I'm going to read you what that House Resolution is. Please make sure that you pass this on to every single person that you know. I don't care whether you're in the United States or not, you got to get this information out. House Rule 66, or House Resolution 6666, is for COVID-19 testing, reaching, and contacting everyone Act. The acronym is TRACE Act. Again, TRACE Act stands for testing, reaching, and contacting everyone. It was introduced by Bobby Rush, who is a Democrat from the state of Illinois. And they have introduced this bill into the House, and they're going to roll this out from a testing standpoint in Ventura County, California, which happens to be where I'm at right now. And I couldn't believe that I heard this, but basically this act is to allow individuals to come into your house, and if you've got a cough, or somebody in your family has a cough, or you have a fever, or anything that they determine that shows that you have COVID-19, regardless of whether you've been tested or not. They will also test people, but remember that testing already has been shown to be there to be
our view into compliance. They know that you can't go into the stores and get groceries. You're going to get hungry, and hungry people, like we said in the video like a month ago, hungry people will do whatever it takes. They're not allowing you to prove that you are no longer sick. They are going to take you somewhere and test you for it. They're going to starve you into compliance. They know that you can't go into the stores and get groceries. You're going to get hungry, and hungry people, like we said in the video like a month ago, hungry people will do whatever it takes to eat.
Let me put it very clearly. You have no constitutional right to endanger the public and spread a disease, even if you disagree. You have no right not to be vaccinated. You have no right not to wear a mask. You have no right to open up your business. And if you refuse
is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. They used to say guns don't kill people. People do. Let's watch the weapons make the decisions. Now, trust me, these were all bad guys. Now, that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped. Now, I said this was big. Why? Because we are thinking big.
A high rate of false positives. False positives meaning you don't have COVID-19, but the test shows it's false positive. It's showing up as positive, so they call it a false positive. We already know from the studies previously done as far back as 1984, but as recently as 2018, that individuals that did not have COVID-19 or coronavirus, even in the cat model, cats that had never been exposed to coronavirus, tested positive if they had had a flu shot, if they had the trivalent or the covalent flu shot. And we don't know about the H1N1 shot. We don't know about the herpes.
The driver was like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" I was like, "I don't think people understand how stressful this job is."
Favor as we seek your face, oh God. No other face but the name of Jesus, God. We're seeking your face, oh God.
Oh, great goodness. It is 8:42 New York time. And I got to my regular unit and they took my patient away, my black guy. And now I'm getting switched units. This is exactly what happened before at the other hospital. As soon as I told somebody and like management and tried to advocate for my patient, they take the patient away from me and then they move me. So like I legitimately don't even know what to do anymore. Like even the advocacy groups don't give a shit about these people. Like literally, like Black lives don't matter here.
I've cried so many tears this morning alone. I had to step outside of work and catch some air. The virus is real. I see it with my own eyes. It's attacking people. It is
I've been training for anything in the world, but it's so stressful. It's a break. Everyone is trying hard. Hi, my name is...
Could save someone's life. I'm a nurse practitioner. I am licensed and certified. I am not on the front lines. I have a friend in New York City who's on the front lines. And for her safety, she cannot come out and say these things. So,
and I mean, that's pretty sad that somebody who is white and lives hundreds of miles away from the city gives more of a shit about these people than the actual people in this city.
That every day she works in the emergency department of Brookdale Hospital in Brooklyn. Dr. Millett, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good morning.
Well, we just heard Stephanie's piece. They have an influx of nurses coming in. How badly do you guys need the help?
Oh, we certainly need the help, all right, but we are all helping each other by lifting each other up, and we are remaining strong because we have a job to do.
Yes, you do.
attacking people.
Like, for real. Like, I had a complete breakdown yesterday because, you know, I missed
a packed emergency room with wall-to-wall COVID-19 patients.
You start seeing that and you start realizing that that's happening in these hospitals here in New York, and these patients, so many of them are...
It's attacking people. People
am her voice. I'm not going to name names of people or hospitals for the safety of those involved, but this is her account.
Dying.
As a nurse herself, Anderson felt for her New York area colleagues, the state leading the nation in coronavirus deaths. Governor Andrew Cuomo pleading with the medical community for help.
I am asking healthcare professionals.
I was looking at images inside your hospital, Dr. Millett, and we saw it looked like plastic tarps.
Important email to do a revision on my proposal, so my proposal got canceled because I was trying to advocate for my patient and talk to management here and get the care that he needs because he's being medically mismanaged. And I just had a complete fucking breakdown because, you know what, my entire proposal got canceled because I, wasted my time advocating for a fucking patient who's just gonna die anyway. And sure enough, they take the patient.
My name's Danelle Schmal. I am a ER ICU nurse, currently in New York, working the COVID, working a rapid response for COVID. And yeah, today was a really rough day. It was a really rough day. It's really rough. I don't know, I just feel like there's only so much anyone can take. I'm tired of walking into rooms and your patient's dead. You just walk into a room.
To be vaccinated, the state has the power to literally take you to a doctor's office and plunge a needle into your arm, but you have no right to refuse to be vaccinated.
Away from me, and then almost 2 hours into the shift, they switched me units. This is exactly what happened at the other hospital when I was advocating for the little Hispanic lady. Guys, here's the thing. Let me try and put things into context for you, okay? I know not everybody's gonna live. I'm not that fucking green.
There's a dead body there.
Are fine one day and they gone the next. These people, they can't even see their family. They haven't seen their family in weeks.
Or ignorant or, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to think that, okay? I know we're gonna have a shit ton of people die.
I'm tired of calling families and telling them that news.
To bring divine healing from heaven, God, upon every sickness, God, every disease, God, in this household.
Okay, I am her voice here. I'm going to tell you what she has told me. She wants this to get out. Now, I'm sure this is not the case everywhere. I'm confident. I have friends that are in other places. They're on the front lines. They're nice.
That were taped up with tape to cordon off the COVID-19 ward. Paint the picture of what it's like inside your hospital right now.
I mean, right now is it's tough. It's pretty devastating. We are all doing the best we can to take care of our community overall, because the hospital is a part of the community and our patients is our community. And so we're doing.
Watch. A $25 million order now buys this. Enough to kill half a city. Nuclear is obsolete. Take out your entire enemy, virtually risk-free. Just characterize him, release the swarm, and rest easy. Dumb weapons drop where you point them. Smart weapons consume data. When you can find your enemy using...
I feel so much sadness for my fellow nurses
across the country. If you don't have a healthcare crisis in your community,
But these people aren't dying from COVID. Let me give you several examples here.
Please come help us in New York.
An anesthesiologist intubated the patient's, like, I think it was right bronchi and of a patient, and they couldn't get the sats up, and for about 5 hours, like, we were waiting on a chest x-ray to confirm that the placement was wrong. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, and we've told the anesthesiologist that it was placed wrong, because, like, literally only one side of his fucking chest is, like, inflating.
The neonatal intensive care unit nurse could no longer do nothing. With her family's blessing, she answered Governor Cuomo's call.
Today, I'm the nurse that's going around with that iPad.
Today,
he dies. Okay? A patient had a heart rate of 40, and the resident started doing chest compressions on him, which is not what you do. You just externally pace them, or you give him some atropine. And then, I run in there to stop him from doing chest compressions on somebody with a fucking pulse. And then he just...
Sisters and brothers that have lost their life.
They died by themselves. All they got is me. I can only be so strong. I can only comfort them so much.
The best we can to take care of everyone with low supplies like many other hospitals in our country. But at the end of the day, when you...
New milestone right here in America. New York State now has more reported coronavirus cases than any country in the world. Let that sink in for just a second. And new pictures are a disturbing reminder of the human...
Majority of deaths in Milwaukee County, blacks are 25% of the population, but almost 50% of the cases and 75% of the deaths. So what's going on? Well, it's alarming. Hispanics represent the majority of deaths. In Milwaukee County, blacks are 25% of the population, but almost 50% of the cases and 75% of the deaths.
I see EMS stretchers lining down the block. It's jam-packed.
There we go.
When you come into our emergency department, you still see...
They depressed.
Many people are suffering, God, because they can't be with their families, God. They're lonely, they're dying alone, God. But your word says that.
Decides to push Epi, he throws some pads on him to defibrillate the guy in bradycardia. Okay, he has a heart rate of 40 and a stable, bradycardic rhythm. We just need to give him some atropine and pace him. He fucking defibrillates him and kills him. And I was literally ran out of
against a contagious disease. Public health, the police power of the Constitution, gives the state the power to compel that, and there are cases in the United States that bring forth.
If y'all gonna try to quarantine me or whatever, you can't force me to put anything in my arm. I'm listening.
So the doctors talked to you. They did not feel like you have the capacity to make medical decisions. They did not feel like you have the capacity to make medical decisions. They did not feel like you have the capacity to make medical decisions.
How do I not have the capacity?
Okay? And all we're trying to do is help you. Nobody wants to hurt you.
Please leave me alone, bro.
Not until you get on the bed.
I'm not getting on the bed. Help us, man. Help me out, bro. It doesn't work like that, bro.
Just some little flare-ups that we'll take care of. We're going to knock it out. We'll knock it out fast. But that's what he was referring to, coming together at the same time. And I think rather than waiting, I'd ask Dr. Redfield to come up and say a couple of words just to straighten that out, because he didn't say it the fall season and the virus. Totally misquoted. I spoke to him. He said it was.
Tyranny. 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 Tyranny.
Gross negligence and complete medical mismanagement. And no one is listening to me.
It's ridiculous. He was talking about the flu and corona. Coming together at the same time. And the flu and corona coming together at the same time. And corona coming together. He said it was ridiculous. He was.
Zoster shot, the shingle shot, there's many other vaccines that people have gotten. We have no idea if people are going to be testing positive, have false positives based upon those tests. So the point is that the chance of them testing someone and them being high, them being positive is pretty doggone high, even if the person doesn't have COVID-19. But they're going to use that to pull you or your loved ones, especially your children, away under pretense of public safety. They're going to say that your child has to be removed from you because you have COVID-19, and so to protect your child, we're going to take that child, or we're going to take your grandmother or your father or you and put you into quarantine. This is a load of rubbish, because if you're in your home isolated, who are you going to expose? All right? And if they're going to try to take you away from your family, the chances of you having infected your family, even if you did really have COVID-19, is about 99.9%. So this is a bunch of BS. They're using this as an attempt to further divide us as individuals. They divided us from our friends, from our social circles. Now they're dividing us from our own family units. This is the most ominous sign so far that we've seen. I want you to all wake up. I want you to pass this information on. I want you to tell every single person that you know what's happening. If you're not in the United States, I don't care. It's coming to your country as well. And if you're in the United States, you need to contact your representatives. Right now, if you go to askdrbuttar.com/ask, right underneath my image, you'll see that link. Go to that website, follow the information that it's asking, enter that information in, and then you're going to be taken to a page. The first one is a petition. It's a petition about censorship.
Anybody know a lawyer, bro? Somebody see a lawyer? Bro, no! Come on, James. It don't work like that, man. This shit ain't right, man. Don't put the phone down there. No, I don't want to leave it in my arm. It don't work like that. No, it does not work like that, bro. It don't work like that, bro. Get out of my way! Stop! I'm choking you. You're choking me, bro. Stop. You're choking me, bro. Stop. Stop. Help! Stop. Help, man. This shit ain't right, bro. Stop.
Mental hospital because I'm pregnant and having contractions. They're telling me since my grandma died yesterday that you're trying to send me to a psych ward because my grandma died and I'm having contractions and you're trying to put medicine in me to hurt my baby. You want me to take these drugs off you? No, I want to see the doctor that's not my doctor. And you have the police in here about to shoot me up with some medication. Yes, you is. And then you have another doctor. We're not giving you any medication. I want to talk to the doctor who set this up. Because my family on their way to make sure that this does not happen, because this is wrong.
Dr. Shaw wants you to go over
this is making me scared. This is not what I said. I came here. I did not come here for mental. I don't take medication.
The doctor thinks you need.
No, I don't. No, I don't, and I'm not getting it. I'm having a natural pregnancy, and if he touches me, no, you know what you're doing, because I'm black, and I'm more. I'm a Moor. I'm an Israelite, and you want to hurt me and hurt my baby because I'm pregnant.
We're trying to help you.
I am in labor, and you're trying to send me to a psych ward. When my family leaves me, you want to get me alone and try to send me to a psych ward because I told you that I didn't want my tray off my food because I said I didn't want germs in it. And then you came back in here and said that they're trying to send you to a psych ward.
The tray has nothing.
Well, where's the doctor why didn't she tell me that? When I told her, she asked me, do I need to go?
Let her unhook these wires.
I'm making the belt off you, okay, Deja? That's all.
You
gotta try to cooperate with us.
You're trying to hurt me.
I'm not.
You're trying to hurt me. I have somewhere to go. I have a family.
That patient's room to get like the director of nursing who was standing out there, and I'm like, can you stop him? He's going to kill that patient. He's going to kill that patient if he defibrillates him with bradycardia and a heart rate of 40. And the director of nursing just shook his head, and I turned around and he killed the dude. Okay. There was a nurse who placed an NG tube into some guy's lungs and filled his lungs with tube feeding. There was a nurse who confused a long-acting insulin with a short-acting insulin and gave 30 units of a fast-acting insulin and killed the guy. What else? Other stuff have I seen? Yeah.
Now it is Latin America's turn to face the pain of the COVID-19 storm that spread west across the globe. In Brazil, the health service is ill-prepared. In truth, it's already overwhelmed. They know this. They can't fight this virus. They're digging thousands upon thousands of graves in the city of Sao Paulo.
We don't want to do this, but we have to. This is what's going on in Bellevue. They're making portable morgues. This is my life. This is our life. We don't want to do this, but we have to. We're in this together.
There we go.
So what's going on?
Guys, back off! Go! Go! Back off! Watch out! Guys! Watch out!
Waiting room filled with 30 to 40 patients next to each other, coughing, giving COVID-19 to one another. There is physically no more room in the emergency room. You bring any more patients in, then you cannot walk. We had a few patients die in the emergency room because the hospital's full.
All I'm seeing are people who are vulnerable, people who are weak, people who are scared. And I'm not gonna lie, it's making me scared.
you hear about people dying and suffering from it, but it's a whole other thing to see this stuff up close.
The proportion of patients that are critically ill, younger, people that look just like us, and older, it's overwhelming. The morgues are already getting overwhelmed.
It just feels like you're standing on the shore looking at a tsunami, and the federal government is offering you a life preserver.
If you get x-rays every few hours on these patients, you tend to see them get worse in real time. You can actually see those cloudy patches increase over the course of 1 to...
They worry. I just see so many families cry. It's taking a toll on me.
It's just here they're just gonna let them rot on the vent. They're medically mismanaging these patients. And like, I'm not a doctor, guys. I'm not professing to be a doctor by any means. But there's, like I said, basic standards of care that we have to do. Like, when somebody's low on blood, like literally on the brink of a critical low blood level, we should replace the blood. But I asked the residents and they're like, does he have internal bleeding? And I said, no. Then they're like, well, we're not replacing the blood. Well, here's the thing. In these COVID patients, they all eventually need a blood transfusion. Their blood, like, if you don't have enough blood to actually oxygenate your body, the vent settings don't fucking matter, okay? They don't matter because you have no oxygen carrying capacity of your blood, okay? I told you about the patient where like all that like purulent drainage just kept seeping into his lungs because the ET tube cuff was leaking and nobody has a fucking manometer here to check the pressures. And I finally figured that out. And I kept saying, hey, you know what? His white blood cell count is steadily like, you know, we're having a problem with it. Like, do you want to start some antibiotics? No. Well, does he have a fever? And I said, no, he doesn't have a fever. They didn't want to start antibiotics. Day shift nurse finally got a chest x-ray. He has full-blown pneumonia now. Like, I've been telling them this for a while, but because he didn't have a fever, they didn't want to give him antibiotics. We have a nurse who, like, fell asleep at the fucking nurse's station while we were all in rooms, and her norepinephrine ran out, and the guy had no fucking blood pressure and didn't perfuse his brain, and now I'm pretty sure he's brain dead. That same nurse is now running a CRRT machine, a dialysis-like machine, that she has never done before. She said she'll figure it out, okay? I'm pretty fucking smart, and I figured...
ICU, and it's not like this everywhere, but in New York City right now, in some of the hospitals, this is what is going on. People are sick, but they don't have to stay sick. They are killing them. They are not helping them. She used the word murder, coming from a nurse who went to New York City expecting to help. Patients are left to rot and die. Her words. She has never seen so much neglect.
Three, 4 hours. I saw a gentleman in his 70s. He looked really well. When I came back the following day to check his chart, he had passed away within the 24-hour period of time.
You know, they're talking to me like I am talking to you, and then a few hours later they go into sudden respiratory arrest. They stop breathing, and they need to be intubated. And this is one of the most dramatic things that I've ever seen.
So let's think about this. The building is on fire. We're all firefighters inside trying to put out this fire, but we're naked, right? Because they didn't protect us.
Or social distancing regulations. This incident happened in East New York on Sunday when police approached a group of people who were not socially distancing in front of a building. Officers say Stephen Scott walked away from that group and then tried to enter a police car. When a sergeant tried to stop him, Scott allegedly punched the officer. And that's when several officers jumped in to arrest Scott.
When officers approach a crowd for whatever the reason, you know, work with the officers. We commit to work with the community, but one thing that we cannot have is we cannot have individuals having physical contact with our officers.
As officers approached a small group of people for allegedly violating social distancing rules, one of the men accused of becoming aggressive towards police. He was threatened with a taser and then tackled and slapped. At least that's what it appears to happen on the video. Our chief investigative reporter, Jonathan Dinks, in the newsroom. He's been looking into it with these questions raised now about enforcement, Jonathan, of social distancing.
Yeah, David, two videos coming out today raising concern of some civil rights activists. The second is out of Brooklyn, coming to light just a short time ago. The first out of Manhattan, catching the attention of the mayor earlier today.
What are you flexing for?
The end of the video shows the plainclothes officer approach 33-year-old Donnie Wright, and then this. Officer Francisco Garcia is seen hitting Wright several times before placing him under arrest. The video went viral over the weekend and brought this reaction from the mayor today.
The video was very troubling. What I saw was absolutely unacceptable and obviously a
team of Chinese doctors comprising cardiologists, anesthesiologists, respiratory tract infection, whatever, experts and all of that. They've arrived in Nigeria. They arrived at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport today as I'm talking with you guys. Guys, what's happening? Because as at this point, I'm at loss for words. I don't know what to say. According to NCDC numbers, as at 7th of this month, which is I think yesterday, we have about 200 and something cases, confirmed cases in Nigeria, and we have about 44 people who recovered and have been discharged. So I really do not know why Nigeria would need Chinese experts to come to Nigeria. To do what? Nigeria does not lack medical personnel. There are qualified doctors and nurses and other medical professionals on ground providing excellent services. Else, how do you account for the 44 persons who have recovered and have been discharged?
Scott is facing several charges, including resisting arrest and disorderly conduct. The NYPD says the officer's use of
discipline was swift by the NYPD.
Garcia has been placed on modified duty. It all started Saturday with social distancing enforcement along East 9th Street and Avenue D. Police say
running out of medications, we're running out of equipment, and we're even running out of oxygen, which is something that patients that have COVID-19 need.
You can think of it as your lungs being filled with fluid, like you're drowning. And once you get to that point where you're drowning, you need a ventilator to stay alive, and we're running out of that equipment for people. And we don't know who's going to do well, who's not going to do well. It's like you hit a tipping point.
More than 13,000 are planned. Medical workers haven't given up hope. But there is no battle, no real war here. They're facing defeat. In full hazmat gear, the grave diggers and burial teams struggle over the freshly dug earth. Grieving family members follow behind. This is the funeral of Jose de Oliveira. He was 52 years old. He died after a few hours in hospital. The authorities say it was COVID. His son Felipe insists it wasn't. There is a stigma to this disease, and there's no testing anyway.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
Why aren't they speaking up? Because they're scared about just being taken out.
Well, I mean, I just got a letter from the medical board about a complaint that was written clearly from a doctor, and I think I know who it was, but you know, to their credit, the medical board just said, we're just notifying you of this complaint. But yeah, they are afraid, and I've had a long history. I've been battling the medical board pretty much every year since 1999. So they at this point, I think, just want me to go away. They don't want to, they just, take this course, take that, whatever. They just don't want things to go forward anymore, because at a certain point, you have to understand that that the truth is always going to come out, right? It may take, my dad always used to say this, no matter what anybody says, it may take a week, it may take a month, it may take a year, it may take thousands of years, but the truth will always sustain itself. And we are at that point in history right now that we must, as a global population, as a citizens of this planet, not as citizens of the United States or the UK or this country, that country, as a planetary population, recognize that, one, we are all connected. Literally, we're all connected. If you study quantum physics, you already understand that. But we are all connected, and our differences have been accentuated over the decades and over hundreds of years. Our religion, our creed, our ethnicity, our color of our skin, to create diversion. It's the same thing as saying China created a bioweapon, whereas taking the responsibility away from the United States for shutting down the economy. It's that type of division. It's always division, right? If you think about it, divide and conquer. That's an old saying. So you first divide the populace and then you conquer them. So I'm asking for people to unite. And my message, Dr. Lipton's message and Nia's message that we put out that was censored by certain media, it got out there. It was surreal to get videos sent to me from Russia showing your message is getting out, and people are congregating, people are coming together, and the police trying to break it up. I have asked for every law enforcement officer, every military individual, anybody who's served in the military, active duty or retired, I have asked them to remember the oath that they took to protect and defend the U.S. Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I'm not asking for people to riot like some people are saying. That's ridiculous. We are a nation, a free nation, and we are the United States. And the world is a free nation. It's up to us to now define what that freedom means. Instead of wars being pitted against each other, we need to start looking at the similarities and see the similarities between ourselves. And then we can understand how this agenda began, how this agenda has gotten perpetrated, how COVID-19, all the governments became complicit. Not all the leaders are bad leaders. Some of these people are good people and they're trying to do the best they can, but some of them are complicit. And it may not be the leaders, it may be the people who are surrounding the leaders. It needs to be flushed out, Brian. It needs to be flushed out, discovered, and those people, as far as I'm concerned, should be hung for treason, for against all their
about the Asians taking over Africa.
Oh yes.
Oh my goodness. I made the comment when
Yeah,
I
you
was
talked
in
about
London.
it. Yeah.
Ethiopia.
He faced the world. After being silent for more than 4 months, the man who went into hiding when China was going through the worst phase of the outbreak. The man who wants to be called a savior when the world is suffering because of the virus China exported, Xi Jinping, finally feeling the heat of global anger, came looking for a face saver today. Our cover story tonight is about how China is using the World Health Assembly to spin a new narrative around the Wuhan virus. Today, the decision-making body of the WHO kicked off a 2-day event. It's called the World Health Assembly. But for the Chinese president, this is a 3-part act designed to repair the damage to China's reputation.
It's a breakout sound maker.
He's Gloria, Tiny Macarado. Let's take it back and later when they gave us our freedom. Yeah, we thought everything would be okay. Never knew they operating the slavery. Misery and misery is what we see. Agony and pain is all we feel. In the rest, slavery is all we do. It was the Chinese trying to take over our lands, trying to steal our race and sea. Africa, we gon' rise up, get it strong back. Hey. In the red, slavery is what we're doing. In general, oh yeah. If If we can come together, blacks all over the world, we can conquer. With one voice, one mind, we can conquer this. With one voice, one line, someday we'll win. It's so painful, one pity I will leave it. Hope someday we can free. My brothers and sisters, let's rise up so that we can win this race. We've been working a time, but they're depriving us from our rights. This is the right time for we to get up and take what's yours and mine. They've been fooling us, they're fighting us, trying to turn our back to each other. Enough is enough. Let's rise up cause we want. Yeah, yeah. In the red slavery is what we do. In general. Oh yeah. If we can come together, blacks all over the world, we can conquer. With one voice, one mind, we can conquer this. With one voice, one line, someday we'll win. Yeah, can't do this alone. I need you, my black brothers from all over the world. We need to join arms together and fight for our rights. One voice, one mind, one soul, one spirit. Yeah, we can get it. Time's traveling. Yeah. Time Makala. Thanks for the inspiration. It's Clarion.
Before I get to that, let me give you some background. The World Health Assembly is an annual affair. It happens every year. Usually the world pays little attention to it. Health ministers from member states attend it and they discuss health policy. But this time it's different. It's very different. All because of China. Usually the 194 member states of the WHO gather in Geneva. For the first time in its history, this event is happening online. And it's the most important assembly in the history of the World Health Organization. Because the world is fighting a pandemic. More than 47 lakh people have been infected by the Wuhan virus. More than 3,15,000 people have died. The world wants answers from China. The world wants answers from the World Health Organization. So here's the first thing they did today. Draw up a resolution. A resolution that demands an investigation into the outbreak. Initially, 60 countries, 60 countries backed the call for such a probe. And that list of 60 included India. The momentum continued to grow. And now more than 100 countries the world over are supporting the demand for a probe. Let that sink in, 100. The resolution does not name China, but anyone who doesn't see this as aimed at China has to be living under a rock. It's obvious. And it is bound to raise some serious questions for China to answer. Questions like the ones we've been asking since December. What happened in Wuhan? How did the disease spread so widely and so quickly? Why did the WHO miss human-to-human transmission when it was there to see? At the center of all these questions is China and how much China has been trying to hide. Now, this is interesting. This morning, the Chinese Foreign Ministry said an investigation right now is, quote-unquote, premature. But the global tide was too strong, so the Chinese president decided to change tack. He decided to address the gathering himself. His mission was clear: defend China, buy the silence of members, and promise solution, a three-pronged approach. President Xi Jinping delivered the speech from his office. He did not contest the demand for an investigation. He said China will support an investigation led by the WHO, which is basically, we'll investigate what we did. Not very much, but a start nonetheless. He also put up a rather unconvincing defense of China. He called China's response transparent. That's not all. He preached the world about information sharing.
All along, China has acted with openness, transparency, and responsibility. We have provided the information to the WHO and relevant countries in the most timely fashion. We have released the genome sequence at the earliest possible time. We have shared control and treatment experience. We have done everything in our power to support and assist countries in need.
Either he's bought his own propaganda, or he believes that the world does not see through China's lies. China's transparency is frankly an oxymoron. And here's something else that China is known for: buying its way out of everything. Xi Jinping resorted to the tried and tested trick. He whipped out China's checkbook again and offered $2 billion in international assistance.
I would like to announce China will provide $2 billion of international assistance within 2 years to help the COVID-19 response and with economic and social development in affected countries, especially developing countries.
It's not just money that he offered. He also promised a vaccine. And we won't be surprised if China finds a vaccine. It had the head start, it had the first samples, and for all we know, it made this virus. So Chinese researchers are the best place to find a cure and a vaccine. What's hard to believe, though, is Xi Jinping's promise that China will share the vaccine with the world for free.
COVID-19 vaccine development and deployment in China, when available, will be made available for public good. This will be China's contribution to ensure the vaccine's accessibility and affordability in developing countries.
The world has trust issues with things made in China. What you pay for, is faulty. Imagine the quality of what you're given for free. Anyway, Xi Jinping is trying to get an image makeover here after creating this crisis. His government wants to evade scrutiny by offering money and a vaccine that may or may not come. Remember, there's no vaccine yet for SARS or MERS. Developing a vaccine for coronavirus, and that too so quickly, is a tall ask. So why is Xi Jinping making these promises? They're a distraction. They're a face saver, a way to soften the impact of an impending investigation. The next 2 days will be challenging for China. The draft resolution on the global probe is likely to be adopted and calls for Taiwan's inclusion.
People, we got Uncle Bernie in my life. Uncle Bernie, how you doing?
I'm good, Cardi. I want you to take a look at my nails. How they looking?
They're looking very quarantined. You know, when this coronavirus news was hitting and everything, he just kept blaming that this was a move of the Democrats to make him look bad. But the thing is that, honey, you don't need the Democrats to make you look bad. You make your own self look bad.
That time that you bought, the argument is that you bought yourself some time and you didn't use it to prepare hospitals, you didn't use it to ramp up testing. Right now,
you're so
people
disgraceful.
are unemployed.
It's so disgraceful the way you say that. Look, you know you're a fake. You know that your whole network, the way you cover it, is fake.
Even like right now, people that are in jail, they are not being protected as good as they should with this coronavirus.
This is a dormitory. We stupid crowded, we super crowded. As you see, the folk walking down the aisle, and they got to turn and see that aisle is too small. Put your arms out again. That's how close we are. It's finna be a mass grave site up in these cribs.
Just the other day, you may have read that he threatened Dr. Fauci, who has been telling the American people the truth. Trump doesn't like the truth, so he wants to fire this guy as well.
U.S. President Donald Trump retweeted a call to fire Dr. Anthony Fauci. Just two East Coasters chopping it up on Instagram Live on a casual Tuesday night, garnering a large audience that Fox News will undoubtedly hate on.
Maybe Cardi B isn't the person we should be taking our political advice from.
See, with the coronavirus impacting everyone,
Point, you start drowning, and you do really poorly, and we're running out of equipment in the hospital. Nearly everybody coming to the emergency department has this, and we're getting completely overwhelmed.
If I can make it there, I'll make it. Anywhere, it's up to you, New York, New
Ambassador to Israel, its own ambassador. His name was Du Wei. He was 57 years old. He died at his residence near Tel Aviv. There was no evidence of foul play. But conspiracy theorists have been pushing far-fetched reports on the internet for clicks, linking a Chinese ambassador's death in Israel to the visit of an American secretary. And this is just what China needed. Here's what followed.
May 17th, 10 kilometers north of Tel Aviv. Staff at the residence of the Chinese ambassador to Israel make an urgent phone call to the local police. A team of cops arrives at the scene within minutes. Shortly after they enter the residence, a statement is issued. The Chinese ambassador, Du Wei, has been found dead in his bedroom. Initial findings suggest no foul play. There are no signs of violence either, and there is no immediate comment on his death by Chinese officials present there. Du Wei died in his sleep due to natural causes. The Chinese Foreign Ministry decides to abide by the preliminary verdict. Any wrongdoing in the Chinese ambassador's demise is officially ruled out. But the story does not die, and conspiracy theories begin to take shape. Du Wei was 57 years old and had taken charge as the Chinese envoy to Israel in February. Upon his arrival in Tel Aviv, he had undergone a 14-day home quarantine. And in the weeks that followed, Du Wei, much like other Chinese diplomats, had become increasingly critical of the US government. He had publicly argued that China was being made a scapegoat for the pandemic. In fact, on Friday, the Chinese embassy in Israel had specifically called out the US Secretary of State. It had called Mike Pompeo's statement on Chinese investments in Israel absurd and had demanded evidence for his claims. The response, which is now bizarrely being linked to the Chinese ambassador's death. What's adding fuel to this theory is the fact that Mike Pompeo visited Israel just last week. But conspiracy theorists have only played into China's hands, because now the Chinese regime has decided to give an official stamp to their theory. China is sending a team to independently investigate Du Wei's death. Beijing says that its envoy may have died of natural causes, but it is necessary to examine the details around his demise. As the Chinese regime prepares for another offensive, this time in Israel, the world must not get distracted by the issue at hand. Coronavirus cases have crossed the 4.7 million mark. Bureau Report, we on
hear a lot of shit out, but I would never attempt to try and figure out a CRRT machine on the fly. Like, we are adequately staffed. There's a shit ton of staff in there, like, and we have a nurse who does CRRT in there. She has a different patient load. We told them, like, hey, let's just swap these nurses so the one that knows how to work this machine can work this machine, but they didn't want to do that. So I'm pretty sure that patient will be dead here in a couple hours. And this is why I freaked the fuck out yesterday. Because nobody is listening. They don't care what is happening to these people. They don't. I'm literally coming here every day and watching them kill them. I mean, we're not gonna save everybody, that's fine. Like, come on guys, we're not God. But, like, some of these people, hey, we know that they're not gonna live. Let's start a hospice unit or something, you know? Like, they don't need to be in the ICU. Let's change course. Let's do palliative care or something. Like, literally, some of these people are just on sedation to keep them on the vents. Nothing else. I have a lady on a trach on a vent, and she's not even fucking cognizant. She's not even on sedation. You know what we give her every day? We give her breathing treatments, albuterol, and she gets insulin. And that's it. That's it. We're not treating the COVID, guys. Like, for real, we're not treating the COVID. You know, every day we...
I feel bad for the patients who aren't living, especially the ones that are paying. Can't even get my words together. Y'all, please stay at home.
No one cares. They are cold and they don't care anymore. It's the blind leading the blind. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I was on with some nurse friends of mine, and we were discussing different medications that could be used to potentially help people. Doctors who were reporting around the country that they were using a combination of medications that were helping people. People were not dying when they were on these medications. They were getting better. Those medications are not being used in hospitals in New York City. What is happening is that they're putting people on nasal cannula. If they require more than 6 liters of nasal cannula, they get intubated, they go on the vent, or they get trached if there's not enough vents. They don't get high flow, no non-rebreather, no non-invasive ventilation, no CPAP, no BiPAP. They're on a closed system, the ventilator, versus a CPAP or a BiPAP for fear that it will spread the virus.
Tyranny. 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 Tyranny.
Talking about the flu and corona coming together at the same time. Fall season and the virus, totally misquoted. I spoke to him, he said it was ridiculous. He was talking about the flu and corona coming together at the totally misquoted. I spoke to him, he said it was ridiculous. He was talking about the flu and corona coming together at the same time. And corona could be just some little flare-ups that we'll take care of. We're going to knock it out. We'll knock it out fast. But that's what he was there at the same time. And corona could be just some little flare-ups that we'll take care of. We're going to knock it out. We'll knock it out fast. But that's what he was referring to, coming together at the same time. And I think rather hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light. And I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, what you can do, either through the skin or tremendous things are happening. The number of new positive cases continue to decline nationwide. Recent hotspots appear to be stabilizing. The hotspots are, in some cases, very interesting what's going on, and they're going down. They're going in the right direction. Cases in the Boston area are now declining. The Chicago curve appears to have flattened, which is terrific, and Detroit has passed its peak. These trends demonstrate that our aggressive strategy to battle the virus is working, and that more states will soon be in a position to gradually and safely reopen. That's very exciting. It was very exciting even today watching and seeing what's happening, and people are getting ready and they're all excited. I do want to mention a man who's done a very good job for us, Dr. Robert Redfield, was totally misquoted in the media on a statement.
Against media that mainstream media has right now, as well as social platforms. Sign that petition. Second thing is a website, or is a link that'll take you to allow you to send any letter that you
try and get these guys off the vents, right? Because, you know, there's criteria for wean. Every day, the day shift nurse will wean them down, to minimum sedation. Every night we come in and we get the same 2 residents, and they fucking max out all the sedation again and undo all the work from the day shift. Then the day shift attending will come in and they'll all do rounds, and they'll be like, he wasn't synchronizing with the vent. So we had to turn all the sedation on. And I'm like, he wasn't synchronizing with the vent because it's in the wrong vent mode. So I legit don't even know what to do anymore.
The plan is to create an apocalypse that will exhaust and depopulate the masses through deadly designer viruses, global terror, economic disasters, and nuclear war, when the remaining survivors will gladly embrace the promises of a handsome, charismatic new leader who will unveil his plan of hope for eternal world peace.
I'm Colonel Lauren Erickson of the Department of Defense Global Emerging Infections Surveillance and Response System, also known as GEIS. Our mission is to detect, monitor, and respond to infectious diseases that threaten our military personnel and their families. We're actively monitoring cases around the world. By now, most of you have heard about
coronavirus. The Department of Defense is acting to protect you and your family in the event of a pandemic. You need to start thinking about what you will do if the services you depend on are not available. Imagine the effects on your family and community if hospitals are overflowing, if schools, banks, and post offices are closed, if services such as telephone, water, and power are disrupted. Stores may close or have limited supplies. You may not even be able to rely on public transportation. Consider that the ability to travel, even by car if there are fuel shortages, may be limited.
You can see the PPE of other countries, chemical suits, and we are wearing trash bags.
I was told that if I had to intubate anyone, I would be using a sheet protector with 2 industrial-sized paper clips and clipping that to my goggles that we were given.
Did you feel safe wearing that?
Absolutely not. we feel like guidelines are changing not because science recommends they change, but because we just need people and we need warm bodies in the ER.
This is very distressing to me because I don't know if this is going to be the next shift that I go in and I get the virus.
There's nothing that differentiates any of us from the people who become devastatingly sick. And that is, that's scary.
I thought I was just out of shape and totally tired from the anxiety of everything that had been going on so quickly. And then I started getting a cough. I was COVID positive. There's a sense of anxiety around the idea that, oh my God, this is positive. And knowing that the disease course is unpredictable.
One of my colleagues had the disease, and we found out that he passed away a week from yesterday. So that's been difficult. And that made it all seem too real.
Everyone's talked about their contingency plans if they did get sick. We've talked about who gets our pets, which is somewhat of an easier discussion than who gets your children.
If all of us are calling out sick, there are no more doctors left. There are no more nurses left. I intubated a nurse the other day from COVID-19.
We're going to be faced with this decision of, we've got 2 patients that need to go on a ventilator or they'll die. We have 1 ventilator. Which one's going on the ventilator?
The idea of splitting a ventilator is a little contentious right now. If you split 1 ventilator for 2 people, you've now taken a tool that gives someone optimal chances of survival and taken that and split that in half. So now 2 people have suboptimal chances of survival. Are you going to put both of those people in that suboptimal tool, risking both of them, or are you going to choose?
I definitely did not go into the practice of medicine to play God, and nor do I want to. I just want to treat people as best I can and take care of as many as I can.
How are they going to live with the guilt after all of this, knowing that if they'd had an equipment that could have saved somebody's life, they would have used it, but because they didn't, they watched somebody die, and they chose person A over person B.
There was one of my colleagues told me this amazing story where he was talking to a patient who was infected. He's talking to this patient and saying, look, if this escalates quickly, would you want a breathing tube? Would you want to be on life support? And the patient said, absolutely, I would want that. And then the patient paused and said, but if someone else needs it, give it to them. The intensive care unit is a busy place pre-COVID. What's different now is that we don't have any visitors in the whole hospital.
Tyranny.
Want to people on to elected officials on the municipal level, on the state level, and on the federal level, and tell them that you violently oppose HR 6666. Every single person needs to do that right now. You don't have to even know your House members or your representatives or your governor or your mayor. You don't have to have any information. That link that we have, all you do is type in your name, your email address, and then click on your zip code, and it will automatically find your elected officials, and with 1 letter you'll get it to every single person. It's actually going to work for Australia, and it's also going to work I think Australia, UK, and Canada. I think it's coming.
It's hurting right now. No, you don't. You don't. You touch me. Don't you touch me. You're trying to send me to a psych ward. What is the reason? I refuse to take a shot. I am pregnant. I don't want my baby to have that in his system. I refuse. No, I don't want it. I refuse. I refuse. Yes, I can. I'm pregnant. I'm in preterm labor, and you're trying to give me.
You've been pink slipped, so you can't refuse.
No, I'm not pink slip. That's not my doctor. That's not my doctor. All right, I'm not taking it. Y'all, my parents, when they leave you.
Now here's your choice.
No.
You can take it like an adult.
No. What made her say for me to do this?
Or we're going to have
she said she seen me acting crazy?
All right, listen to the nurse.
Did she have me, did she see me acting crazy?
You can take it like an adult, or we're going to hold you down and give it to you.
I want to wait for my mom to come here.
No,
Yeah.
we're not waiting for your mom.
No, because I don't feel comfortable.
Well,
I feel like you're trying to rape me.
No.
I feel like you're trying to manipulate me and see my ass.
No, well, I can give it
I
to
mean,
you.
my assets. I feel like that. I feel like you're trying to rape me. I'm uncomfortable.
I can give it to you in your lap.
No.
There's other.
I feel like you're
women
trying
nurses in
to.
here.
I feel like that's going to arouse you. I'm uncomfortable.
Give it to you.
Would you
You
rather
know
one
nurse
of
can
them
give
give
it
it
to
to you?
Yeah, but not right now
No,
because
we
I'm
have
not
to do it
comfortable.
right now.
I'm pregnant and you're stressing me out. Like you're really making me hurt right now.
No, we
And my
have
grandma
to do
just
it.
died yesterday, and I live with her.
This medicine's gonna help you.
And I don't need it though. I was fine without you doing this. You're trying to make it seem like something it's not, because I never acted like this. I never got
we
loud.
gotta give it to
No, I'm trying to get away from this. I don't want that.
No.
I don't need it. So you saying you feel like I need that when you were around me?
Mm-hmm. I
The
feel like
doctor-
you
You never were around me
I can see your pressured speech.
because you're trying to give me what I don't need.
We have to
Please
give
don't
it
touch
to you.
me.
Well, we're gonna
Because I know you're all against me.
No, we're not.
Because I'm black. Because I'm more.
No.
Because I'm more. Yeah. Because I'm MOOR.
All right, we're gonna sit here too. Okay.
All
We'll
right.
get it in the leg.
All right. Okay.
So my baby's gonna have that in his system, and I'm gonna.
Now more than ever, Wisconsin needs contact tracers to save our lives and our livelihoods. The state needs to hire hundreds more to meet its Badger bounce back goal of 1,000 tracers. It posted this job on Saturday afternoon. Full-time, $20 an hour, and you must work from home.
Hey, I just got a call from the North Shore Health Department, and they just wanted me to know that Vince was in contact with you.
COVID-19 survivor Tina Kreitlow said health officials called her sister after she listed her nephew as someone she came into close contact with.
You poke me with a fucking needle and I haven't signed a paper, I'm gonna sue you motherfuckers for everything you got. No. Take this fucking thing off my head.
Last month, in a rare joint statement, Apple and Google announced plans to work together on contact tracing software to help track and alert potentially infected people.
Contact tracing? We move. We move from place to place and state to state.
Contact tracing is essential, just as all the other guests have said. And it's going to be challenging in some communities because technology is going to be important. Having smartphones where you can load apps and be able to contact people that way. In a lot of communities, there's a technology gap and you won't be able to do that. So we're still going to need a small army of individuals to do the kind of investigation just to track people down, just to track people down, just to track people down.
Let me put it very clearly. You have no constitutional right to endanger the public and spread a disease.
Like, I tried calling advocacy groups. I tried talking with management here, like the nursing admin. Like, nothing. Nobody's doing anything. We still have 100% mortality rate in the ICU unit. I just left. But, I mean, they're living longer because we have, like, legit ICU nurses there. So, CDC finally, like, not the CDC, FDA approved yesterday the remdesivir study. Like, to start using remdesivir for COVID patients. Guys, I don't even know what to do anymore. And this is why I had a complete fucking breakdown. Like, I literally had to call my friend Lisa and FaceTime her, and she answered the fucking phone while she was in the shower because she, like, knew I was having a hard time to talk to her. Because it's like going in the fucking Twilight Zone. Like, everyone here is okay with this. Look, the only way I can kind of put this into context for everybody is, and this is going to be kind of an extreme example, this is like really the only thing I can come up with, is like if we were in Nazi Germany and they were like taking the Jews to go put them in a gas chamber, I'm the one like there saying, hey, this is not good, this is bad, this is wrong, we should not be doing this. And then everyone tells me, hang in there, you're doing a great job, you can't save everybody, you're amazing, you're a great nurse. Guys, I know I'm a fucking good nurse. I know I go in there and I give it 500% every day. I know I'm not being negligent.
Even if you disagree, you have no right not to be vaccinated. You have no right not to wear a mask. You have no right to open up your business. And if you refuse to be vaccinated, the state has the power to literally take you to a doctor's office and plunge a needle into your arm. But you have no right to refuse to be vaccinated against a contagious disease. Public health, the police power of the Constitution, gives the state the power to compel that. And there are cases in the United States Supreme Court.
You do not get to go to the grocery stores, that you have to wear a mask everywhere you go.
Tyranny. Tyranny. Tyranny.